this is the current definition of CDR, right? It's a computer technology for removing potential malicious code from files. Unlike malware analysis, CDR technology is not determined to detect malware functionality, removes all components that are not approved within the system definition policies. Any comments on this one? You agree, disagree? It's a good definition.
High level, I think, kind of covers what CDR is, but I think it's more about, I don't know, the devils in the details, right?
Yeah.
If someone reads this one, let's say a potential customer is going to read this, they're like, that probably makes sense. When they start actually trying to understand technology, usually like one of the big bottlenecks is that they need to like see, okay, am I allowed to change the files? How is that going to affect? Is there going to be any legal implications and things like that, right? So the fact it's saying that it's going to remove potentially malicious code is not necessarily something, maybe it's going to fully click that, hey, this is going to be a brand new file. It's going to be a totally changed file, right? New hash and things like that.
It also doesn't really fully describe the functionality because if you look at the sort of stuff that certainly things that Glassware does, it's not necessarily malicious malware code we're pulling out. It's other things like sort of potential sort of leaky things within metadata and things like that. So it's maybe we should be addressing that as well in the definition.
I think that's partially covered at least, right? It's like it's potentially malicious. Malicious doesn't have to be necessarily, I don't know, literally like exploit kit or the malicious payload, like the malware itself in that one, right? It can be something, I don't know, like risky if you want like a better word or something like that, right? It can be not just malware per se, can drive some, I don't know, data leakage as well, but still towards like a bad behavior. Let's say.
I was just going to say the second paragraph where it talks about the channels being email or website traffic. I mean, that seems to be quite limited and quite specific. Like, why are those the only channels that we could potentially protect from file? It's file protection, it's document protection, right? Just seems a bit limited in its application based on that kind of second paragraph.
Right. I mean, the focus was a bit on the first one, but on second, I think that I agree with you. It's like even with the second sentence where it says something about like on the endpoint cloud, even sharing services, it's still not covering at all. Like at the end of the day, it's any kind of like productivity files, right? Like regarding of the source or input channel and so on. So I agree on that one.
Any other comments? Oh, you can always put on the chat. I think we can also take a look at the chat.
In my view is there's sanitization that CDR does, which I think is a nice word. You can clean out specific content, functional content within a file, hyperlinks or embedded content or metadata, etc. So I think that's a very big and a very powerful part of minimizing risk in the commercial space, which maybe is not alluded to, that in plain English in the description. And then there's the structural, the reconstruction, which is, what Jonathan was alluding to, which is, cleaning up structural anomalies and bloat and things that just, aren't part of the spec, that just don't need to be there. So you're reducing risk by making sure you've got a clean and benign structure. But you can also reduce risk by choosing to sanitize certain types of content. That's where I see the value in what CDR does. I think something along that in plain English would probably be more meaningful than, potentially remove malicious code. Yes, that's true, but that's not, the objective. The objective is to provide a, clean, benign, disarmed file, and often, that's done through removing malicious code. But we might not have known that it was malicious at the time of removal.
I mean, we remove unwanted content, which could be malicious content, or it could be, unwanted metadata, or could be incompletely redacted content and things like that. So unwanted is a much more general term, I think.
I tend to slightly disagree on that one, right? Like, because at the end of the day, okay, let's say I have an Excel with, 3 macros. They're like legit macros. If we're gonna remove those ones, they're gonna perceive it as like it's wanted, right? So, and that's always kind of like a discussion with me. What do you remove? How do you know it should be removed or not, right? Because the policy usually it's gonna be, I'm gonna remove it all. That's kind of like what I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, it's based, let's say, on the policy on like what exactly you want to remove, right? but it's not going to make any difference between what can be a legit or like something that you're supposed to receive anyway, embedded object, right? Versus something that might be that potentially malicious, risky, and so on. Because the entire technology is based on the fact that we're not going to detect if it's anything malicious or not, right? So unwanted, it's a bit too broad from my perspective. But anyway, I think it's like semantics here, but.
It's good to hear the view though. Dennis, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a good distinction that CDR is not a detection mechanism. So, first of all, the goal of CDR is to protect. One of the main goals of CDR is to protect from malware. And protection from malware can be divided into detection and prevention. And I think this definition does not clearly say, it does say, but it does not state right at the beginning, CDR is a prevention mechanism. And the second thing is CDR does not remove malicious code as many people have said. We don't necessarily touch only code. We're looking at elements, at the structure, a lot of other things that are not written here.
Yeah, because we basically rebuild into known good, right?
Yeah.
So what we want is to actually put the file at the state where it's actually in a known good state, which by proxy removes whatever our definition or whatever the definition of malicious content is.